Thank you for joining us as we discuss Fear Street book number 7, Haunted, which was released in July 1990. And how old were you in July 1990?
Still 7. 7 and 4 months now?
Okay. I had just turned 11.
Okay.
Big year for me.
Yeah, you're full
6th grade.
preteen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, today we were supposed to have our guest, Nathan Haley.
Mm-hmm. We got in a big fight. He's not talking to me anymore.
Okay.
No.
I kind of got that vibe.
No, he overbooked, overscheduled because he's so busy. Everybody wants his time. I'm sure we'll get him again soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be fun.
The Night Stalker. Melissa woke up screaming. The prowler was at her window. Or was he? The recent headlines about a Fear Street prowler had everyone on edge. Her father now kept a loaded pistol in his bedroom. That made it even more frightening. And real. Then the haunting began, her new car driving as if someone else had taken control, her birthday presents ripped open by unseen hands, an invisible force tried to push her out of the bedroom window. Out of the shadows of her bedroom came a menacing figure. Who was he? Did he really come from beyond the grave? And why did he come to kill her? If Melissa doesn't solve the mystery fast, these questions will haunt her to death.
So Haunted is written in third person.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last week of summer vacation, so we're at the end of August, and Melissa Dryden is in her bed and worried someone is trying to break into her room through her bedroom window. She screams and her dad comes in. He checks the window and sees it's just a tree branch. Then her mom comes in and says Melissa is just overtired from coming in late. Melissa was out with her boyfriend Buddy until 4 a.m., but also there's a prowler on Fear Street where they've lived for the last 5 years. Melissa's dad, who is always commenting on how thin she is, tells her there's nothing to worry about and takes her to his bedroom and shows her a loaded silver pistol that's in his nightstand.
They keep making a point of it being silver. Is he afraid of werewolves?
What's going on there?
Okay.
Melissa goes back to bed, but can only think of how handsy Buddy was on their previous date. He's been on vacation for the past 2 weeks, and they spent the evening at makeout spot River's Edge. Melissa just wanted to talk, but Buddy had high hopes for second base or beyond. Melissa has to tell him no a few times, and Buddy apologizes and takes her home. Melissa is a bit taken aback because Buddy has never acted this way, and as she's falling asleep, she can't stop thinking about the pistol in her dad's drawer.
So that's I'm sure Freud would say that's something to do with phallic.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
River's Ridge.
Oh, thank you.
So. No,
thank you, River's Ridge. Okay.
Because it's been mentioned, I think, in just about every book so far.
Yeah.
So, I was trying to figure out everybody's names. You caught her dad was named Chekhov, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But Melissa, so I have a sister named Melissa, spelled Malissa because she's named after my grandma, who always spelled her name that way, and then they found out like way late that legally it was always M-E. She just didn't like it, so she just wrote her name, and so they named my sister the wrong thing.
Oh.
But no, it's fine. But what cracked me up is they all called her Lissa as a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
And when my sister was little, I called her Liss, or sometimes Lissa, but mostly Liss. And the rest of the family heard that and started calling her Liz. And they still do to this day. And it drives me insane. Because, like, her name is not Elizabeth.
Wow.
It's Melissa. And Liss is a nickname for Melissa. Lissa, in this book, great nickname for Melissa. Liz is not. It's not. So, it's always bothered me. Nobody else in the family calls her Liz. It's always Liz. And
I'm sorry this book was so triggering.
It was. Right away in chapter 1. I had to put it down for 3 weeks before I could pick it back up.
So, I think it's funny that Buddy had high hopes for second base on his date. Yeah.
I think it's funny his name is Buddy.
That as well. Yeah. I can't take you serious.
No, absolutely not. He did not seem like a winner right from the beginning. But then, how many of the boyfriends in Fear Street have been winners so far?
So far, I've only liked Pete from the Overnight Club.
Yeah. Do you think it's these books, or do you think it's just teenage boys all suck? So if a girl is going to have a boyfriend as a teenager, their boyfriend probably sucks.
I did a rewatch of all the Are You Afraid of the Dark
Uh-huh.
episodes, which, 90s.
Yeah.
And all of those boys are just toxic as hell. So maybe it was just a time.
I mean, I definitely never related to that energy and always grew up so like, stay away from, I don't want to be around this.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I don't know.
All right. Well, chapter 2.
Chapter 2, Melissa's home reading a Stephen King book. I guess. R.L. Stine, do you really want to compare yourself, like, bring Stephen King? Like, somebody might compare and it's not going to go favorably, even if Stephen King has mixed reviews. Mr. Dryden comes home, Chekhov Dryden, as we know, to surprise Melissa with an early birthday present. Not a gun, somehow. Her birthday is on Friday, but we don't know what day of the week it is now. And he got her a blue Pontiac Firebird, which you did the research and said it costs between $11,000 and $26,000 in 1990, or in today's money, $29,000 to $65,000. I did have a friend that got a Firebird in high school.
Okay.
And her family wasn't rich or anything. I think hers was probably used, but I think her mom had one too, so they were like matching.
Okay.
But
That's
yeah,
cool.
to me, it still seemed like any car that's bought for you. I mean, I did get a car, but it was like my parents were ready to replace one of their cars, so I got the old car and they got a new car.
Oh, yeah, that's how it should go. The parents should get the new car.
Yes, because the kid's probably going to wreck it anyway. Most likely they're getting into some fender bender.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea to give a kid a new car.
Yes.
And the insurance on new cars is more expensive. And if you're playing a teenager anyway.
Yeah.
But they're rich. They have a live-in housemaid.
That's true.
Like, this is by far the richest family we've
with
seen in this
the
series.
live-in housemaid. Yeah.
And I did wonder, is Fear Street like the rich part of town? That hasn't really been covered, but then when you think about it, Stine Fear's mansion was on Fear Street, but the other couple of examples we've had have not seemed rich.
No, it seems like all the houses on Fear Street are like boarded up or broken down.
Run down. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm a little... Maybe there are more than one really fancy house on Fear Street, but not the whole street is.
That's true. Yeah.
Or it used to be a really nice neighborhood. Now some of them are just really run down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she drives over to show her best friend, an overnight club member, Della O'Connor, who they're such best friends. Della never mentioned Melissa in her book at all.
At all.
She had, I was trying to look and I didn't have time to fully delve in, but didn't Della say she had a best friend in that book and it was somebody else?
It was Maya.
Maya was
also
the best friend.
in the overnight club.
Yeah. And Maya gets no mention in this book.
No.
So
Well, maybe Della realized that Maya is a little bitch and was like, I don't want to be best friends with you anymore.
Maybe, although even though she calls her best friend, they don't spend a ton of time together in this book, Melissa and Della. So maybe this is one of those situations where Della's best friend is Maya, but Melissa really doesn't have a close friend, so she thinks of Della as her best friend.
Oh, yeah.
Could be that situation.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
So anyway, on the way there, Melissa feels the car swerve as if something was jerking the steering wheel. She tries to keep control of the car, but the wheel jerks again into an oncoming oil truck.
Not just a truck, but an oil truck.
Which then explodes in a fireball.
So in chapter 3, Melissa is having a birthday party with her friends from school. There's a few familiar names like David Metcalf and Pete Goodwin, who is still dating Della. We learned that Melissa's car is in the shop to see why the wheel was jerking. At the end of the party, her friends want her to open the presents, but when they go to the back bedroom where she put them, all the presents have been ripped open. She doesn't know who did it, but Buddy got her a silver pendant necklace. After the party, Melissa goes to bed. She gets chilly and goes to close her bedroom window, but sees a boy standing at the end of her bed. She assumes it's the Fear Street Prowler, and she screams.
Is there any point of the silver pendant thing? Like, it never really came back as a thing.
No, and I thought like it was going to,
Mm-hmm.
but no. I think R.L. Stine just likes silver. There's a silver pistol, there's a silver pendant, like all the silver going around.
Apparently. So in chapter 4, Melissa cannot make out this figure's face in his bedroom, only that he has long hair. So how does she even know it's a he?
Yeah, that's
right.
true.
Like,
Yeah.
Well, I guess bearing and posture and yeah. Anyway, her parents come into the room, but the man is gone. Her parents are annoyed that she keeps seeing things. Gotta love those supportive parents. They leave, and Melissa goes to her window to look outside. As she's leaning out the window, she feels two hands on her back, and she's being pushed out the window.
In chapter 5, Melissa fights back, and when she turns around, the person shoving her is gone. Melissa wonders if she's going crazy and then goes to bed. As she's sleeping, a shadowed figure leans over her. We fast forward a little bit, and now at Buddy's house, Melissa is watching Buddy clean out the garage. They talk about the man she saw, and he keeps dismissing her concerns that it could be the Fear Street Prowler. Melissa is driving her mom's car, and she goes clothes shopping with Della and Chrissy, who body shame one another and then make fun of a poor girl named Mary Lou. Melissa doesn't feel right making fun of Mary Lou, so she tells Chrissy to knock it off, and then she drives home. On the way home, she sees the ghost boy sitting in the passenger seat. She screams and crashes the car.
So, first of all, we find out later that Paul watched her be nice to the poor girl.
Mm-hmm.
But that really...
He does mention it.
Yeah, yeah. As a ghost, did he watch her, or as a live person? Because to me, I thought he was implying as a live person who watched her.
As a ghost.
Okay, that makes a little more sense later then. So Buddy doesn't believe her. Her parents don't believe her. I was trying to put myself in their shoes. Is there any way I would believe her? And I don't think so.
No, I mean, I'd be like, oh, my daughter's hallucinating.
Right.
I should probably get her on meds.
Yeah, that's have a doctor check her out. You know, boyfriend, maybe you have to be a little bit more like, oh, well, maybe you're right. But the parents, I could see that. Yeah, I get the frustration, but it also makes sense that they're not. Yeah. So chapter 6, there's just a tiny scratch on the back bumper, so the other driver let her leave without calling the police or the insurance. She mentions she got out of the car, but there was no dent or anything on hers. It was just the tiny scratch on his. Yeah. And then later she says she already put a dent in the new car. Inconsistency. Yes. So back at home, Mrs. Dryden is worrying about Melissa and offers to take her to Vegas when she and Mr. Dryden go on a business trip. Melissa declines and gets ready for a date with Buddy. Okay, Vegas or Buddy?
I know.
Vegas. Even as a teenager. I mean, I did go as a teenager to Vegas, and it was great. I mean, I obviously couldn't gamble. Yeah. I was 15, and just walking around and looking at everything was so cool. Mm-hmm. And we went to some things that were kid-friendly, but yeah.
Yeah, and Buddy just got back from a 2-week vacation with his parents. He didn't blow that off to spend time with her.
That being said, when I was 16, 17, 18, my parents were doing family vacations. I did opt out of a few of them. Okay. But was because I had so many siblings, and I was like, "Ooh, I get the house to myself for a week," versus trapped in a car with 4 siblings, and there's gonna be fighting, and Dad's gonna get mad, and you know how it goes. Like you know it's gonna be like there's gonna be miserable parts. So instead, I can have a week of freedom. Yeah. Her being an only child, and it's Vegas.
I know.
I didn't approve. So as Melissa's getting ready to go out on her date, the boy appears. She asks who he is, and he tells Melissa she should remember because she killed him.
In chapter 7, the ghost tells Melissa that he doesn't have much of a memory, and he starts fading in and out a lot, but he knows his first name is Paul, and he's going to get his payback by killing Melissa.
Yeah. Sounds like another winner. I love these guys. Chapter 8, Melissa talks Paul into waiting while she finds his real killer. He agrees very, very easily. It does not take any convincing.
No, not at all.
And then he just vanishes. On the drive to Buddy's house, Melissa runs a red light and a stop sign. She pulls together when she gets to Buddy's house, and she tells him everything. Kid, bad driving. Don't give a teenager any trouble. Buddy doesn't believe her and says she needs help, but Melissa tells him to drive to her house, and she'll prove it. If she couldn't prove it to her parents, I don't... Yeah. The ghost that appears and disappears, I don't know how she thought, I'll just show up and call for him and...
Well, I think now because she has had communication with him, that she thinks that she can summon him.
Oh, okay.
Since that initial, conversation happened, maybe, just to play devil's advocate.
I would say something this book suffers from, and we could talk more at the end, is it's way too much... It has not enough characters. The fact that she's just, interacting with Buddy and interacting with Paul... is driving me insane already by this point in the book. Because I don't like either one of them.
It's summer vacation.
I know, but I don't like either one of them, and Della's barely in. If Della was more helping her through this, I think the book would be so much more interesting. But because we've got her with just these 2 horrible characters, and because of the way she treats these 2 horrible characters, I have a hard time liking Melissa that much either.
Yeah. In chapter 9, Melissa's parents are at the Daltons' house, and Melissa and Buddy are alone in the house. And I assume that's Meg Dalton's parents. Yeah, she's from... what book was she in?
Oh, shoot. The second one, right? The surprise party?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Melissa and Buddy talk about Paul, and then they hear footsteps in the house. It's just their live-in housekeeper, Marta. And Melissa brings Buddy up to her room and calls for Paul, but he doesn't show up. Buddy quits the moves on Melissa, and as they kiss, Melissa sees Paul watching them. Then voyeur Paul lunges at Buddy.
Marta's barely a character in this. Again, it seems there's almost no point other than to demonstrate that Melissa's rich and Paul is not, like to show the dichotomy between them. But
yeah, I agree with that. And then also I think Marta was just needed for this scene right here. That like RL needed a reason for there to be footsteps inside the house.
But then, like, later, when Melissa's alone in the house because her parents are out of town, there's no mention whether Marta's there or not.
No, Marta went to go see her family in Cincinnati.
Oh, they did mention that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, even more of a reason that she's a useless character.
Yeah, like, she's so
no development
pointless.
whatsoever.
No.
So this is...
Check your pen.
Oh, yes. Buddy can't see or feel Paul, even though Melissa's telling Paul to make himself visible. Buddy tells Melissa he's going to call her parents so she can go to a doctor, but Melissa tells him to go home. That Paul's even, like, hitting Buddy.
Yeah.
And can't feel him, which is weird. After Buddy leaves, Paul acts jealous of Buddy and comments that Melissa would never have given Paul a chance because he was poor. Melissa tells him to leave, and Paul takes that as Melissa saying she's no longer going to find his real killer. Paul says he's going to kill Melissa, and Melissa reminds him that he couldn't even touch Buddy, so how's he going to kill her? That is the part of the book where I'm like, okay, so he really is a ghost. Because until then, because we haven't had any supernatural elements, there's always an explanation. I'm like, is he using some kind of projector from the tree?
That's what I thought too, yeah.
Yeah, something, like, I don't know. I couldn't figure out how it really made sense, but I was trying to reason it away until that moment. And then you're like, oh, I guess he really is a ghost. Okay. So, Paul takes credit for driving Melissa off the road, almost pushing her out the window, and opening all of her presents. He says he will kill her in time, but first he's going to have some fun by trying on all of her new presents.
Yeah. I mean, he was like, how does this silver pendant look on me?
Right. At the library, Melissa searches newspaper articles for a boy who died in Shadyside but comes up empty-handed. Oh, come on. I guess we've gone 6 months without anybody dying, but we know there have been deaths in the past.
Yes, yeah.
Then she sees Della, and Melissa realizes that since Paul is poor, he probably went to South High, not Shadyside. So Della tells Melissa her cousin goes to South and may know him, so they had to go to cousin Tracy's house, and Tracy tells them that a boy that was at her school did die last year.
I don't know why my typing is so awful.
That's okay. But I feel like they've mentioned South before, but I don't feel like it's been such a, like, poor, like,
right.
The ghetto of...
Yeah.
The town, like, it seems really bad. Like, they talk about
what's the
how
town
dangerous it is.
The next town over, Waynesbridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Waynesbridge and South High are apparently like the poor part of Ohio.
I don't know.
In chapter 11, it turns out the boy who died at South High was not Paul. Melissa goes home and sees someone has broken into her house.
But chapter 12, it's Buddy. Who's the real Fear Street Prowler. No, he came to say he was sorry. Melissa's mom let him in when she was on her way out, but for some reason, they left the front door wide open and made it seem all creepy and whatever. Melissa forgives him way too easily, and they go to a dance club, Red Heat.
Why are teenagers going to a club named Red Heat?
Why is there a teenage dance club at all? Let alone
Buffy had a teenage dance club.
I know, and that always confused me too. And they mentioned specifically on this one that this was a club like for teenagers, Red Heat somehow, and it has a juice bar, which also sells soda, even though it's called a juice bar. It feels like something fictional that doesn't exist in the real world.
Well, it would never stay in business in real life. Because, but that's how bars make their money, obviously. Well, alcohol sales.
They do mention here that it's really expensive to get in. So I guess if you're going to try to make a teenage club operate, you're not going to sell a lot of soda, but you're going to have to charge a large cover fee.
$20 or something to get
in. At least.
Yeah.
And yet they leave so quickly without ever getting their money's worth, and Buddy's not even upset about it after spending that money when they're teenagers and have no money.
We are dancing to 10 songs.
Well, you know what? They're rich teenagers. I assume Buddy's rich too.
Yeah.
And maybe that explains it. Anyway, at the club, besides going to the juice bar, Melissa and Buddy argue about Paul. Melissa storms out, and as she's walking her feelings off in the graveyard where the vampires are, two boys start catcalling her from the parking lot. When she looks up, she sees one of them is Paul.
Paul's getting around.
I mean, I was sure because of other R.L. Stine books that we've already read in the series that it had to be a twin.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, here we go. It's a twin. So in chapter 13, Flesh and Blood Paul manhandles Melissa in the parking lot, but she soon breaks free. She doesn't understand why other people can also see Paul, but she runs back to the club and has Buddy drive her home. At home, Melissa doesn't understand why Paul hates her so much. When Paul shows up, she tells him to go away. He does so, but promises to be back soon.
You know why Paul hates her. Because she's an uptown girl, and she's been living in her white bread world.
Looking for a high-class guy.
Apparently.
I bet her mama never told her why.
She's gonna try. So in chapter 14, in the morning, Melissa's parents are having trouble with their plane tickets to Vegas. I assume we do assume that this is all in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Based on context in Cincinnati and all that. Okay. So as she heads to Della's house, she remembers that that she knows one of the guys from last night. His name's Frankie, and he works at the Stop and Save, which she goes to talk to Frankie about Paul, but the electronic doors swing open, and electronic doors slide, they don't swing.
Yeah.
Now, I did have a local grocery store in my town where the door did swing open, but it was a single door, not a double door, and I don't remember ever seeing an electronic double door that would swing open automatically, so I'm really confused.
Yeah, that was weird.
So, anyway, Frankie talks about Paul in present tense like he's still alive. When Melissa asks how Paul died, Frankie's confused because Paul is alive. He played the record backwards and says Paul is dead, but he's still alive.
He's alive.
Melissa thanks him and leaves, knowing Frankie thinks she's crazy. Once outside, it's somehow, in that less than 10 minutes she was inside, rained a lot because there is a large puddle, even though it was not raining before she went in, and she's been in there for 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
Tops. I think it's less.
Because that's how long his break was.
Yes, but, he didn't stay the whole break with him.
That's true.
And she found him right away.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking 5 minutes or less. And again, it had stopped raining, so the sudden downpour was a huge deluge. And now it's gone. But, anyway, even more important than that, someone's following her, and I bet you'll never guess who it is.
Just tell me.
It's Paul.
In chapter 15, real boy Paul starts to manhandle her again.
Yeah, he's a real boy.
But the cops show up and ask what's going on. The cops get an emergency call and leave the scene, but that gives Melissa enough time to get in her car and drive away from Paul. Once at home, Melissa goes up to her room and sees Paul waiting for her. And as she enters the room, he lunges at her.
Yeah, also, Paul knew her name? Real Paul in the parking lot? Because he asks, how'd you know my name, Melissa?
Yeah.
And it's like, how you know her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't said it. So
Yeah.
that was an inconsistency. And, one of the only couple hundred we found in this book. Chapter 16, Paul tells Melissa that he's weak and fading in and out. And after some back and forth, Melissa realizes that Paul isn't a ghost from the past. He's the ghost of Christmas future. And then, Paul hasn't really died yet. There's still time to save him before he turns into a ghost. This is where this book no longer seems like a Fear Street scary story, or seems like a sci-fi, like something else. It seems like a different genre for a minute here.
Okay.
I wasn't quite believing a ghost that came back in time. I'm sure I've read a book like that that's science fiction, but this,
Yeah.
and if you're reading this genre as a kid, like just getting into it, that seems like a concept that just might confuse you and not quite, I don't know.
Right. Well, this book came out in 1990, and Ghost, Patrick Swayze Ghost, came out in 1990 as well.
Not as chaste.
No, but since that was very popular, maybe the publisher was like, all right, we need to get some Patrick Swayze-ness in here.
But Patrick Swayze wasn't from the future, was he?
No.
Okay, I haven't seen the movie, but only know the pottery scene, of course.
So in chapter 17, Melissa drives Ghost Paul to Human Paul's house. Ghost Paul goes inside while Melissa waits outside.
Was it totally jarring that all of a sudden we switched perspectives for a chapter? Because it was to me.
It was, yeah.
Especially this late in the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ghost Paul sees Human Paul, and they are wearing the same exact outfit. Ghost Paul realizes tonight is the night Human Paul died.
Because you never wear the same outfit more than twice.
This chap does.
Especially this. He's supposedly poor and probably doesn't have a large wardrobe. So he probably wears this outfit at least once a week. So it's going to be tonight, unless it's next Tuesday.
Yeah. That's his Tuesday outfit. Mm-hmm. Ghost Paul follows Human Paul to the liquor store where Human Paul sees Frankie and his buddies. They're bored and want to do something, but they have no money because they're poor.
I just assume that they're like the Jay and Silent Bob standing outside.
I see that too, yeah. Human Paul confesses to being the Fear Street Prowler and can get money, so they drive to Fear Street. Ghost Paul tries to stop Human Paul from breaking into a house, but fails. Human Paul breaks into the house, and it doesn't go well. The lady starts screaming, and he runs. Ghost Paul feels himself fading away, and then Ghost Paul comes back and is at Melissa's house. She tells him she had to leave because she got scared. Ghost Paul tells her he wasn't able to stop Human Paul, and he's going to die tonight. Melissa vows to talk to Human Paul and make him understand.
You know what would help with that? If Ghost Paul would tell Melissa something only Paul knows, so that so that he would believe her.
Yeah, that's
true. For instance, by telling her he's the Prowler, which he doesn't do here. He neglects to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's really strange. Well, anyway, we'll get to that other part. But it's like there are obvious ways to handle this, and do they not do them just because they're teenagers, or do they not do them because he's not a great writer?
I think it's just because he writes 2,000 words a day, and
that's not an excuse.
And that's it.
I'm sorry, that's not an excuse. So chapter 18. The next day, Melissa tells Buddy she can't hang out because she's staying at Della since her parents are in Vegas. But they haven't left yet. Melissa heads out. Oh, yeah, they don't leave till next chapter, sorry. Melissa heads out to find Human Paul. She drives past Aldo's and sees Human Paul and Frankie in the parking lot. She pulls in to talk to him, but he's being creepy and pushy, as he has been in every encounter. She starts to get scared and pulls away from him. She's also, her plans to tell him to stay away from Fear Street. Mm-hmm. Does that mean she just plans to not leave Fear Street until they pass whatever the period is where she supposedly kills him? Because she goes around town, so him not gonna... At this point, she doesn't know he's the Prowler. Right. She doesn't suspect he's the Prowler. We know that later because she's like, oh, it's Paul, not the Prowler.
Yeah.
So what in her head makes her think that the way to save his life is just to tell him to stay away from Fear Street?
Yeah,
He doesn't say he died on Fear Street.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't remember how he died or what the circumstances
were. Not at all. So
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. She could have killed him at Della's house for all she knows. Yeah. Right.
Or at the parking lot of the grocery store.
At the Stop and Save.
Yeah.
In chapter 19, Human Paul threatens that he knows where she lives, and Melissa tells him to stay away. The next night, Della cancels with Melissa. Melissa is supposed to stay at Della's while her parents are in Vegas, but Della is still with her cousin, so Melissa is going to be home alone for the night. Before her parents leave, they remind Melissa the Fear Street Prowler is still on the loose.
Do you think that's why it takes them 30 minutes to pack their car, because they're putting all their valuables in their car? Because the airport parking lot's safer than Fear Street with the Prowler on it?
I was like, 30 minutes to pack your car. What are you bringing?
Well, especially because, and I double-checked this, I'm like, oh, they're flying, right? Yeah, they're flying.
Yeah.
Even if you're rich, are you going to pay to check 12 bags for 1 week?
Yeah. It took a half hour. Anyway, so Melissa is watching a Tom Cruise and Paul Newman movie, which is probably The Color of Money, and thinks about Ghost Paul. It is silver. Home alone and bored, Melissa goes upstairs to sleep.
At 11:30, which she calls early. I think she'll probably be able to get to sleep.
God bless being a teenager.
Even as a teenager, I didn't I guess I kind of did stay up till 11:30, but I wasn't supposed to. It's not like that was early.
Oh, when I was a teenager, especially during the summer, I was up until 4 a.m. watching TV in the basement, and then I would sleep from 4 p.m. until noon, and then 5.
See, the difference between us is my dad would not let me sleep in.
Okay.
So even in the summer, before he left for work, he would make sure you're out of bed.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And if you weren't, he had been known to flip the mattress with you on it, or get a soaking cold, wet washcloth and rub it in your face to wake you up.
No, my dad was, well, if they're sleeping, they're not bothering me. So, he didn't care.
I like that attitude better.
So, home alone and bored, Melissa goes upstairs to sleep. Her room is too hot, so she goes to her parents' room where the air conditioning unit is.
Because they're so rich, but they only air condition one bedroom.
Yeah.
Not the whole house. Okay.
At 12:13 a.m., she hears a thud and wakes up. She realizes someone is trying to break in.
They also mention this chapter that she thinks because she's changing clothes to go to bed. She's like, it's Paul. She calls out for Paul. She's like, is he here? Is he watching me undress? Well, that's kind of exciting. I kind of want him to watch me undress.
Like, girl, calm down.
I mean, yeah, if he was like a nice guy that she was like, he don't... You know, the worst part about this book is I think this might be a first Fear Street book without a whiff of lesbianism anywhere.
I know.
And it really suffers
really
from
upsetting.
it. It really suffers. I assume after the events of this book, Melissa probably should go lesbian.
Yeah, she should. All right, Della, we're looking at you.
Chapter 20. It's human Paul that's broke in. He broke in to assault her and prove that he's good enough for her. And she's not the Prowler, according to her. So, yeah, thank God it's him and not the Prowler. She protests and gets the gun from her dad's nightstand, but she vows not to use it because she doesn't want to break her promise to Ghost Paw, and that's more important than staying alive. Or unassaulted.
Yes.
So, human Paul and Melissa fight over the gun. When it falls to the floor, they both reach for the... Little Chicago. They both reach for the gun.
Oh, okay. My wife would know that.
Okay. Musicals.
Yeah, she loves that music.
I can't sing her. I would have given you a better.
In chapter 21, Melissa gets to the gun first, but human Paul knocks it from her hand. He has the upper advantage and is about to shoot Melissa, but then Ghost Paul shows up. Ghost Paul knocks the gun from human Paul's grasp, and Melissa catches the gun, only for it to accidentally go off. Human Paul is shot in the chest, and he falls to the floor, dead.
This is why, so I don't want to own a gun, because I would pull the trigger if they were running at me, but I would probably miss or hit something non-vital, and then they would get the gun from me, and they would kill me. That's why, if you have a gun in the house, you're more likely to get shot.
Exactly.
And I would not... They mention in here, and I thought I had another... There was an earlier chapter where it just says... I didn't write down where it was, I don't think. But it just says that Paul called her a rude name instead of providing the dialogue. And then in this chapter, when they're fighting, he calls her a stream of names. Is that like they're trying to make sure this stays kid-friendly? That whatever names would be vulgar and inappropriate? Which makes sense, because Paul seems like he's an awful person.
Yeah.
But it's also jarring to me that you have all this dialogue and then choose not to put that in dialogue.
It has to be so it remains PG.
Yeah, I guess, but... Chapter 22. Ghost Paul appears and tells Melissa it's okay that she shot him. She had to do it. And now that he knows how he died, he can cross over. So is this a paradox that she was always... Or the ghost Paul was always meant to save her from the human Paul? Because otherwise, how did it... Unless the first time in the loop, she didn't hesitate to shoot him because she hadn't gotten to know Ghost Paul.
Yeah.
And so she was able to kill him more completely. But now there's like a paradoxical loop that would keep repeating from Paul's perspective.
Yeah, it feels so.
And then he's trapped in that forever. The ghost is. Melissa and Ghost Paul kiss. And Ghost Paul tells her, I'll never forget you. And then he disappears. And she immediately... when there's a knock on the door and it's Buddy, she immediately dumps him because she realizes she's in love with Ghost Paul instead of Buddy. And even though he's gone and she can't touch him, Buddy's kiss is never going to match that sweet, sweet ghost kiss.
Ever.
Buddy actually went to Della's first, and then he got to Melissa's house. That's not suspicious. No, it's not suspicious. He really was just looking for her. But when he pulled up, he heard a gunshot, or something like a gunshot, but it was a gunshot. So Melissa takes Buddy upstairs and shows him Paul. Buddy asks if that's the ghost, and Melissa tells him no, the ghost is gone for good. But I really feel like she should be like, well, not really, but sort of, kind of like now he is the ghost, but he's back in time, and he won't come back until... Buddy's relieved that it's all over, does not want the explanation, and they just finally call the police, which is good, because even the hesitating to call the police could cause issues.
It could, yeah.
So.
Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's haunting.
Sure is.
So, what did you like about it?
I like that we finally get the supernatural element in there.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that there was like, well, that might be about it. I mean, it was still enjoyable, but this one, I don't know. The more I read these, the more I can't overlook just how poorly written they are and all the inconsistencies.
Yeah.
And they really start to pull me out of it. And this book really suffered by the lack of characters other than Melissa, who is into these two toxic, awful men.
Mm-hmm.
And who are super unlikable, and there's barely anybody else in the book.
Yeah.
Even her dad, the little bit he is, like, I'm serious golfing on this trip, and here's a pistol. I'll show you. Like, he doesn't even seem like a great example either.
No.
And so it's like, this was not my favorite because it lacked those things. There wasn't that anchor for me to hold on to, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Melissa from early on, I was like, oh, she's not my type of people.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
I wrote, what a shitstorm of brilliance. I loved it. I loved this.
Okay.
Regarding Fear Street.
Okay.
Out of all the Fear Street books that we have read so far, I absolutely love this one because of the supernatural element. Because finally, like, I don't believe in ghosts or anything, but finally, Fear Street's supposed to be so spooky. We finally have something that's actually spooky.
Except the ghost wasn't spooky. Real Paul was way spookier.
Well, yeah,
than the ghost.
Real Paul, was terrifying. But no, I loved it as far as Fear Street level.
Okay.
I loved it. I do have some dislikes on it, but what were your dislikes?
I mean, the things I was saying. Also, I don't understand how Ghost Paul ended up, like, being nice. Because he was so awful.
Well, I think, we saw, because Ghost Paul explained that he saw how nice Melissa was to poor people, and he had basically misjudged her.
But to even get to that point, like, he was nice. I mean, yes, he got nicer as the book went on.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, when he first appears to her, and he's like, I'm going to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, no, let me help you. And he's like, oh, okay. And it's like the Paul that we got to know as a human wouldn't have paused for a second.
No.
If we'd had more chapters from his perspective, maybe we could have understood that he was so confused, and even though he's acting tough, he's scared because he doesn't know what happened.
Yeah.
And then there might be an explanation for the character arc. But because you have to fill all that in yourself,
yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm just the toxic guys of this.
Yeah. I have the comments on how skinny Melissa is by her dad, and I think doesn't even Della say something, or Buddy?
Mm-hmm.
One of the it's Buddy talks about how thin she is. And at first I was like, okay, are they setting us up like, can only a thin person fit through some little cubby hole in the house, and that's how she's able to escape human Paul? Like, I thought they were setting it up for that, but no, it was just, jabs at how thin she is. I didn't like all the jabs at being poor, that poor Mary Lou girl who did nothing except walk into a store. And then all the toxic masculinity in this book and Fear Street in general.
Yeah.
So, just didn't care for that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not have given it the A+. I'm glad you liked it.
I loved it.
I'm glad. This might have been my least favorite so far.
If Netflix does another Fear Street movie based off a book, I want it to be this one.
The ones they did weren't based on a book, were they? Oh no, they did the one. They did the one. Yeah. I was thinking the other Fear Street movies. They're not based on book. Okay, so what are we reading next time?
Next time we are reading book 9, which is Halloween Party.
Oh. And that's different from the surprise party.
Well,
yeah, because it's a Halloween.
Uh-huh.
Gotcha. Hopefully it'll be spooky and supernatural.
Hopefully. It's Halloween.
Halloween?
It should.
It's got to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next time.